Hello, this is Keegan.
Keegan, hey, it's Joel.
Oh, hey, Joel.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going good.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
Right on. Hey, do you have like 2 or 3 minutes?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I'm working on a piece for Wordo, and it's called Operating Guide.
Mhm.
And I wanted to just go through this owner's manual that I have here and just have you like react in real time and just kind of help me figure out what's going on maybe.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Do you mind if I record you?
No.
First of all, I'm looking at the manual. It says owner's manual up in the top left corner. It's kind of like a 80s font, black and red.
Right.
And then it says preparation for use. Please read this owner's manual carefully. Thank you and congratulations on your purchase of the owner's manual. To obtain optimum performance and assure long service life, please read this manual carefully before using this product. Pick up your manual and hold it against your chest. You should feel almost as though you're hugging it. Keep this manual for future reference. Please store this manual in a safe place for later reference. Take good care of your operating instructions. Okay, they're really driving that point home.
Yeah. You really got to love your operating manual.
Exactly.
Part of a healthy relationship.
Easy setup guide. This easy setup guide explains how to connect. And then it just says the basics of creation. Now I'm looking at, it sort of looks like a diorama or like a living room inside of a fish tank. There's a guy sitting on a couch surrounded by boxes. And each of the boxes has a line going to, I guess, a description of what the box is. The first one says connections, and then it says turn on the power, and then actual implementation, reception, and creating phrases. What do you make of that?
Oh, man. Can you read that back one more once?
Okay, so we've got this guy in the living room in like a box. It looks like a glass box, and he's inside the living room. And there's a line from each box to a word. And the first one says connections, and then it says turn on the power, and then actual implementation, reception, and creating phrases.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's like stages about being an artist or what have you.
Okay.
Or steps. That's my interpretation.
Yeah. So do you think that's what this manual is? It's like sort of going to explain the creative process?
In some way, whether it's literal or metaphorical, because it seems to be sort of
Oh, it's like a metaphor. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep reading. It says, important note, operating instructions. Please read this manual thoroughly before operating this high-quality manual so that you can obtain the maximum enjoyment from it. This manual should be retained for future reference and used to answer your operational questions as they arise. And then it says operator's guide again. Okay, so it kind of seems like it's a manual about how to operate the manual.
Yeah.
And feel free to interject with any ideas. But it says operator's manual and learning guide, basic operation owner's manual, section 1, before you go any further. And then this part is kind of like in typewriter font, and it's really small, and it just says stop.
Wait for it. Dream work, relate, watch, trees, see, people, listen, rain, thumping, chasing, hear, swirling, howling, battering, wear long, loose clothing, no protection, sunglasses, trainers, go outside, stand, an open land, rock star posture, head to heavens, feel.
And then it says, what do you want to do? I want to put my DJ to work. And then it says, getting your DJ on the air. Okay, so you have any idea what's going on here?
Loosely.
Okay. So you still think it's like a metaphor about the creative process or something?
In some ways, yes, but also, yeah. I agree with what you're saying a little bit, though, in terms of it's also showing just how to operate the manual, and it seems to be sort of in its own self-contained universe almost.
Okay, cool. All right. So then it says, number 1, messages recognized. Real-time messages. Number 1, connection. Section 2, getting started. Timeout. Active sensing is always received, regardless of a 0 value. Description, active sensing. What do you think active sensing is?
Active sensing. Read it back one more once.
Yeah. Number 1, messages recognized. Real-time messages. Number 1, connection. Section 2, getting started. Timeout. Active sensing is always received, regardless of a 0 value. Description. Active sensing.
I think active sensing is just what you feel, and you're always feeling stuff, irregardless of you're reacting to stimuli, irregardless of what's going on around you.
Okay, so you think active sensing is like a mode, like if you have active sensing on, you're always receiving input regardless of a 0 value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, if that's what the operation manual leads me to believe.
I mean, that's what it's saying. I appreciate your help trying to interpret this guide with me. It says basic setup contents, looking inside. Number 1, conversation. Number 2, combinations. Number 3, what makes. Number 4, one way. Number 5, closer is better. So I guess that's just like a table of contents. And then it says simulation effects. This is a simulation. Hint, you can adjust. And then it says other useful functions. Recognized, remarks, memorized. Okay, now this is really interesting. There's just a square, and it says infinite with a circle in it and the word on underneath.
Huh. Now that is interesting.
What do you make of that?
Well, the circle is sort of can be representative of infinity because, you know, it goes on forever.
Yeah.
But in terms of infinitely on or infinitely whatever, I think that might, could potentially relate back to the prior point about always on and
right.
and always actively sensing.
Right, like you like maybe this is sort of a way to open the portal and just be tapped in.
Yeah. All of the Matrix or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Well, because thinking about that line about you know, you can adjust your own simulation and
right
and what have you, and sort of taking that in terms of like your world is sort of just what you make of it.
Okay.
In a certain respect.
How to brew the bad sludge. Year 2030 is our new lord. Step 1. Galaxy Mortal. Use the Flex Guide to identify ultimate potability of the unsludged anti-solution. If using solvents, titrate mixture at appropriate intervals to ensure toxicity within range for minimal after effects. Good, you are too well done. Place solution inside of the Omni RESEVOIR until capacity is achieved. Human things. Human things. Step 2. Ancient Utopia. The window of solace. Damn, I'm thirsty. Charge the chalice and prime your carafe immediately. Be sure to instill Aseptic's abilities. Now, unwrap pod of your choosing. Notice there are now 3 new selections based on your palette profile. Fordomivera, light and balanced. Vaguely tropical, bold sister blend. Uncosmic casual, forward everything. Use calibration barometer if necessary, but go on, be gruff. You're only living, after all. Step 3. Curious Cypress. Digits 1 through 7. Lives a beach orange. You glad to see me. Step 3 is all about that big break that you deserve. Are you my dada? First, manually pump the atomizer. Froth, baby, froth. Careful, don't want to slip into the carpool tunnel. Alert. Incoming notification from Perry.
Hi dude, missed your face last night. See you at the Bucket Palace later on? Crunch will be there, and you know what that means. Hope it's not probably slugging away. Anyway, send me your coordinates when you're ready to do this.
Yo.
Set aside froth gush. Begin pressurization of pod. You man things. You man things. You man things. You man things. Step 4. Love analogy. Remove simmering pre-sludge from the accumulator. Combine vigorously with frothed experience. BP 137/84. High within range. Who is it to be human? Take mixture off of heating vessel. Pour until desired capacity. How is it like to be human, Paul? After mixture solution has settled, tear packet of flavor pack at its corner. Drop capsule into glug. Where is existence? Lacan, you take me there? You can't? Badoom, cha. Stir and shake or at will. Mixture should be settled. Consume scotch and don't forget to enjoy. Happy Friday, Paul. Now activating hibernation standby. See you tomorrow. Enjoy that sledge. Paul. What is love, Paul?
This is the last page, and it says advanced techniques, actual implementation. Again, with the actual implementation. Turning the effect on/off. Control of the freeze function. What do you think the freeze function is?
Well, I imagine it'll stop something or hold something in some sort of suspended animation. I can't think of a better word for it at the moment. But,
yeah.
That sort of stop in time, or like a photograph, or like a whether that's of sound or life or video or what have you.
That makes sense. Turning the effect on or off. Control of the freeze function. Okay. And then there's a picture, there's a graphic, and it looks like it's like a monkey in a bellhop uniform, and he's carrying like a platter of cups. And
like a waiter.
Yeah, he's like a waiter.
At a really fancy restaurant.
I guess, but he looks like a monkey, and he has 8 cups, and next to this picture it says Exciter. What do you think that's about?
I think that could be about sort of the theme of like maybe potentially the life of the party,
Okay.
Or
is he like bringing like the creative juice to the?
Yeah, and then also physically by being sort of like like he's sort of upscale, with the bellhop uniform, but also the monkey is sort of like a metaphor for like servants or people who,
Oh.
people who serve drinks, and people how these like working class people are viewed by people who occupy these sort of establishments,
Okay.
fancy hotels, fancy restaurants.
You made me
That
think
sort
of
of thing.
something. I wonder if it's like telling you that you need to be your own monkey waiter.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe instead, because you can't just have it, you can't be treating other people like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And just in the context of the rest of this manual, I'm like, maybe that's kind of what it's hinting at. It's like, you're the monkey.
And you got to bring your own excitement.
Bring your own. Yeah, you're the exciter.
One, two, three. Ah!
underneath this graphic of the monkey with the cups, it says creation procedure. And then there's this graphic. It's a really simple line drawing. There's two circles. One circle says next to it sound source. And the other circle is slightly larger and it says listener. And then there's arrows. There's 4 arrows. There's a square around the graphic. And the arrows, the lines are kind of bouncing off of the walls with arrows towards the listener's circle. What does that mean?
Oh, so it looks like one of those like home audio, like listening manual things, where it's like it's showing the room and all that. I think that's consistent with themes in the rest of the manual in terms of just react to everything around you, not just what's right in front of you, right? Because the arrows aren't going straight from the source to the listener. If I'm understanding this.
Yeah,
right.
No, you're right. They're bouncing off the wall. So it's like indirect.
They're bouncing off the walls, and it's about being open and receptive to everything that's around you, and not just the obvious, easy answer that's right in front of you.
Yeah. Kind of like advanced perception techniques or something.
Techniques, almost. Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting because right underneath it says how to hear, advanced operation options. And then there are 2 more graphics, and they're kind of like the aforementioned graphic. They're in squares, and the first one is really simple. It's just a circle, and it says sound source. And then there's a straight line with an arrow pointing to a larger circle that says listener. So that's got to be just like alluding to direct communication, right?
Yeah, which. Yeah. Describe the graphic again. It's just the same, similar, but the arrows are just going straight.
There's just one arrow, and it's just going right from the sound source circle to the listener circle.
Yeah, I think maybe that's about like the idea of being present, or the idea of being an active listener, or the idea that there's you need both. You need to be able to take in everything around you, but also be able to focus on something.
Yeah, it's just like different ways of listening, maybe to the universe or something.
Yeah, and in terms of being creative, or in terms of like especially like what you and I do, it's like being able to like listen to one specific thing or analyze one specific part of a bigger thing, but then also being able to take that step back and hear the whole room and see everything for what it all is, as like some value.
Yeah, the holistic picture, the context, the bigger picture. So that's really interesting because the last graphic that's right next to it has sound source kind of off on its own, and then there's a listener circle, and it's just surrounded by short arrows all pointing in towards the listener. There's like 16 of them or something. So no arrow coming from the sound source, just arrows around the listener. Yeah,
and so that would be like your self thought, whether it's like maybe it's a lot of arrows to show like a level of like anxiety or something, but also it could just be that sort of I've got my information from all these other sources and listened to all these other ways, but now it's like it's time to take a look inside, introspective, and it's like.
Wasn't there something in the other part of the manual that was like looking inside? It was like basic setup contents, looking inside. Yeah. And it said conversation combinations, what makes, one way, closer is better.
Up ahead, the road veers to the left, and the wind will be so strong that my ears ring. It's really cold at the point, and so it will be hard to stay for long. Light waves are colorless until they hit our eyes, at which point our brain declares, blue sky, red rose, green grass. I would never say the wind is orange. Orange wind! What is orange but round? The wind is not round, but can be gentle, and also sharp, like a knife that doesn't break the skin. I would say that is metallic, or gray. Tongue depressors are light, pale, neutral, and with that rounded tip would likely not hurt me. Wavelengths of light do not exist as color until we see them. Without the eyes and the brain, there is no color. No eye. No eye for color. What is the color of safe? It is warm, like the sun. Red, through the skin over my eyes. Soft like the inside of a new sweatshirt. Unwashed, untainted. Calm like the end of the day. Tea, hot, but no longer boiling. Doors locked. Smoking was never in my demeanor. There I was, so white and green, uneducated. There is no color without eyes, and 50 eyes see 50 reds. Light bouncing back is precisely the color it isn't. Light is therefore color, and shadow the privation of it. The smell of wet leaves and rain-soaked earth tells me we are almost there. Soon my toes will be in the mud, my face whipped by the sharp and gentle wind, sunlight covering the skin over my eyes. Leave, waves, sharp track. Sometimes privilege is being able to meet yourself where you're at. Sometimes the shadow is all of the colors.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. And then the last little bit here is a troubleshooting guide, and it says, "Are you sure? Okay?" Question mark. And then it's kind of like your typical troubleshooting guide where it's broken down into columns, and it says symptom, possible cause, corrective action.
Hmm.
So the first line under symptom says no power. And then possible cause says connections are not correctly made. Corrective action, head cleaning is necessary.
Yeah, and that's about how I'm interpreting it is that's about surrounding yourself with people that are, if you surround yourself with people, even though you might like them, and if they're draining or what have you, then that's
incorrect connections.
Yeah, then you have an incorrect connection, and it's time to clear your head and
yeah.
And maybe readjust your what your values are, or maybe what you expect out of people that you associate yourself with, or people that you feel that you can bounce your ideas off of, or maybe even people you engage with creatively. Because I know that's like the hardest one is that if you're really not meshing with someone creatively, it feels like you're laying you out all on the line, and then it's just like if they're not willing to have a back and forth or sucking your energy.
Mm-hmm.
It can be really it can feel like you're out of power.
Yeah I like that interpretation. I like how everything in this manual seems to be closely related to like signal flow. It's like ways to route energy.
I was gonna say different ways of routing signals, different ways of taking a signal and interpreting it in several different ways.
All right, and the very last symptom says on/off, which I don't know what that means. Maybe it's just turning itself off or something. It says possible cause, breath bypass, corrective action, data dump. And then the last thing on this manual just says specification subject to change without notice. Any final thoughts on this manual?
Man, yeah, I think at first I was like, I don't really understand what's going on, but somehow a little bit by the end I'm sort of getting it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, it's talking about signal chain and signal flow and different ways of routing it, but it's also about it's weird and it's sort of out there, but it's sort of about being human, and it's about making connections, and it's about sort of feeling fulfilled and what that takes, and what what that entails, whether that's like creatively or otherwise.
Awesome. Keegan, thank you so much.
Of course.
Melancholy washes over me when I go back to the beach with no waves, where we chased a train, trying not to trip over the barnacled rocks, over my words, and sat with the blue heron at dusk, watching the fairies float across the water like the slowest shooting stars of the sea. It feels too good to be true, I confessed. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. 2 days later it did, leaving me wondering, what sign did the heron give you? Sometimes I wish I could close the gates to my mind from dusk to dawn, like the cemetery near my house, and rest in peace of mind, surrounded by flowers and silence.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. What's up?
Okay, what would you risk for a Wordle piece?
What would I risk?
Yeah, what would you risk? Like, would you eat a cockroach
100%.
for a Wordle piece?
No.
Would you go on a blind date for a Wordle piece?
No, not for anything, probably.
Okay, would you confront a fear that has the possibility of transforming you in some way, or causing you to die? I guess that's the alternative.
Oh, you're just gonna slap on the old causing you to die at the end. Okay, for sure.
You know when you walk beneath that bridge over 20th through Vanna Park?
Yeah.
So there's a way you could totally scale it, making your way up and over, but underneath the bridge. It's pretty easy to do. It's just really high up. I've had the thought every day that I've walked under it, like, oh, I should do this.
Just judging by the kind of stuff that I'm feeling, just even thinking about this, I probably wouldn't confront my fears if it had any sort of possibility of real harm, either psychologically, emotionally, physically. So, no, I don't think I would. I think art is not that important. Hot take.
Do you have a sense of, like, what your limit is?
A cockroach was the limit.
Yeah, like, how do we make, then, in a way, or how do we work with fear in a way where we can build a trust with ourselves? Like, what does that look like?
I feel like it has something to do with momentum. There's some kind of spirit and freedom that wants to be in motion, and if you can just like be inside of that and be carried away with that, it's not so much like figuring out how to like deal with the fear. It's just you're not even thinking about the fear. Like fear is no longer part of the equation, because you're just looking straight ahead with your eyes wide open and kind of flying forward.
Operating Guide, Caleb Thompson. Geographical and temporal perimeters. Functional perimeters vary from manifestation to manifestation. Handbook for the recently deceased. Will there be an end to all this bitterness? No, say the stones. A wind goes by, or a place where this kiss might be. Have you ever kept me? I heard the river say. In Beetlejuice, Alec Baldwin exclaims that the handbook reads like stereo instructions. In the Bardo Thoreau, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, we find the Chikai Bardo, or the Bardo of the moment of death, which features the experience of the clear light of reality, or at least the nearest approximation of which one is capable. Byung-Chul Han writes in The Agony of Eros, the daimonic nature of the Socratic discourse derives from the negativity of atopia. This is the erotic language of no place, the poetry of the zone area. The ceremonies are now spread out and accessible everywhere. Confusion gives way to the splendor of blindness, searing bright blindness and a longing for which there is only the satisfaction of surrender. I smile for the land beyond the suns and moons. I am never lonely. Zizek reminds us that films don't give us what we desire, but show us what we desire. A similar truth holds for song. Song does not give us what we long for, but reveals itself as the impossible object of our longing, and it reminds us of its truth and depth, and our sadness in having forgotten it. Song is an expression of the gift of the other. Prevaricating and dissembling by degrees, my name is not, and my body is dust. Take me with you, calls the dead secret. And where am I in all of this, an empty wind at nobody's door? The keeners come for their own purpose as much as mine. What meant to say itself plainly is always a complete and quiet light upon a lively land. All living wisdom traditions make themselves transparent and coherent through invitation and welcome. The essential joke and eternal warning is simply that you are the author of the operating guide.